Kevin's thoughts specifically on what was ruled and released on Thursday with the NCAA Division I Council Coordination Committee announcing that the dead period for recruiting extended through August.
I'll touch on that question, and then I'll get into the bigger picture. I don't know if it really hurts anybody at this point. I think that somebody that it hurt in terms of Ohio State's chances earlier was J.C. Latham. I think it was really important for Ohio State to get J.C. Latham on campus, keep the momentum going there. We get into this prolonged dead period. Alabama was really able to worm its way in, and that kind of hurt. But, I don't think we're looking at a situation to where we're suddenly going to have visits come September 1. I think it's going to be October, maybe November, and kind of here's why. Because we're working so hard to tighten this circle to get, you got 85 scholarship players, you're a little bit over $105 in terms of with walk-ons, plus coaches, strength coaches, staff, GAs, all of that. They want to keep this circle somewhat small. So do you want to be do you want to send your coaches out on the road to where they're, even with masks or whatnot, they're going into schools and encountering a lot of people and dealing with a lot of travel that's in, unfamiliar flights and hotels and whatnot. And do you want to bring these kids who hopefully will be playing high school football in September and coming into close quarters with everybody? Do you want to bring them inside your circle and expose your team to who knows what's going on with this COVID-19 at that point? So we get through August, we get into September. I think you really need September to be a 4-week laboratory to kind of see where this virus is, how you're able to come and go as you please in terms of football before you bring anybody in. But even at that point, I think they probably are going to want to have a little bit more data and might take it 8 weeks. So we might be looking at just quick and dirty November, December going into early signing period, or even maybe they even get rid of early signing period and we see everybody go in February. But I don't think we're any closer to seeing the NC2A lifting this dead period. And while I'm somebody who makes a living in covering recruiting coverage, and I've been pretty forward and let's open this sucker back up, I think that these are the right decisions. I don't think we should be in any hurry to open the dead period at this point with so much other stuff on the line.
I'm in agreement with what Kevin said. I think it would be great for the kids to have the opportunity to get out on the campuses and everything else. But a couple things are going on. Obviously, Ohio's got some basketball players who have been going to Indiana where it's illegal to actually have basketball events right now, whereas I'm not sure here in Ohio we're to that point where they can play 5-on-5. I know Ohio State in particular, their guys were not expecting to be able to play 5-on-5 right at the beginning of the summer when they arrived here a week or so ago. And then I talked to a prospect out of New York for an update that's on our site. And that kid said that in New York, they haven't even talked about having practice for their travel team yet or any events. So in the Midwest and Indiana, you've got teams playing one another and kids getting at least the chance to get out of the house and go play 5-on-5 basketball in organized situations. Whereas back on the East Coast, that they still aren't able to come together to even have a practice, let alone go play in an event or schedule an event or anything like that. Now, I know that there is hope in the month or two ahead that'll happen. I know for this date, it just seemed to me like July 31st was kind of the death knell on guys getting a chance to visit campuses anyway before their season, because they all start practice on or about August the 1st. And you figured, well, maybe there'd be a rush of guys to visit in early August right before their camps get going at the high school level. But obviously that's not going to happen now since the moratorium has been extended to August the 31st. And now what they have to look at is, if you have games in September, can guys visit during games in September? And that's always been a very popular thing. So I guess as we get closer and closer, they'll figure that out. I don't think the news of the last couple of days with the uptick in cases, more new cases yesterday than at any time yet, I guess, in the United States or whatever's being reported. it's not really trending the direction I think any of us want it to go. So I think there's continuing to be as cautious as possible. And yet, and I'm not trying to be overly political, not a political person, all that overtly, but at some point we do need to all go on with our lives, although I guess in some type of a cautious way as well. If you feel that you're at risk, take the proper precautions is what I would say.
I'm also guessing high school coaches don't necessarily want their players traveling all over the country either, while some of these programs are fighting for a state championship or a mythical national championship, and things are going well. And if official visits finally get open, now your players are going wherever and coming back, and who knows what, because it's not just bringing stuff to a college campus, it's bringing stuff back from a college campus based on how some of these visits can go. I would guess they would be greatly tamed down, I would hope. But the idea of official visits right now, it seems like I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't happen this year. I agree with Kevin. We should probably do away with the early signing period, but there's going to be tons of coaches who don't want that because they've got kids committed that they want, who they would lose if visits get opened up, and they know it. And that's one of the reasons why some of those coaches have been in favor of the early signing period forever, because it allows them to lock in those kids before bigger schools get to see their senior seasons or get to see tape after they've missed out on other players and missed out on other recruits. But the visits, the idea of the visits, Ohio State would definitely like. I think the original question was, how Ohio State would be impacted by the official visits. If they can get Jordan Hancock, the corner committed to Clemson, to ever visit, then maybe that's a guy that can replace Devonta Smith. But if visits don't ever open up, when are the flips going to happen, basically?
Yeah, I'll throw in that player from New York mentioned something that me living in Ohio, I'm not even really aware of, that some states do not want visitors from New York because it is considered to be a hotspot, obviously. And so he's like, I could make a visit to school X somewhere outside the state of New York, but I'd have to quarantine for 2 weeks to be able to do it, or undergo a test, or, whatever, or going or coming back, have to quarantine or whatever. And it's like, you can't give up 2 weeks of your life to go visit a college. So, it's a touchy situation right now in terms of travel. I know our company has said, and we're affiliated with CBS, there's no travel for our company right now. So, and I don't know if that'll be lifted, by the time the season begins, or what the situation will be. So we're kind of at the mercy of this thing right now.